Welcome to the World Warriors of Capcom Cup Players Showcase. I'm Ultra David.
And I am James Chens, the series of videos where we go over all of the 32 players who have qualified for Capcom Cup, players from all around the world, some of the best Street Fighter players on the planet, all going to be competing at the Capcom Cup, which is going to be taking place at the Sony PlayStation Experience from December 5th through the 6th. And that's going to be taking place in San Francisco. Of course, if you don't know much about the Capcom Cup or you haven't heard much about the Capcom Cup and Capcom Pro Tour, on this YouTube channel, youtube.com/Capcom Fighters TV, you can find an introduction video, an intro to the Capcom Pro Tour, that video that we put together. So go ahead and check that out and learn all there is to know about the Capcom Pro Tour.
Okay, but today let's talk about Kazunoko.
That's
one
right.
of the players who has qualified already by winning a premier event into Capcom Cup.
Yeah, not just any premier event. This is a CEO, one of the events that is a pretty big event because it's right before EVO, and that's where everybody is already in the States, so they go to CEO. It's where they get a chance to test out all their last strategies and you know, make sure that they're ready to go for EVO. And it was a rough road for him, but he definitely persevered through there. No question, he's just a really great player.
Yeah, he really is. Let's talk about his character.
Sure.
Yun. When Ultra Street Fighter 4 came out, in fact, sort of before it was coming out, everybody saw what the buffs were to Yun, and we kind of took a step back. Like, this doesn't make any sense. He will be the best. It just hasn't shaped up like that.
Yeah.
It hasn't shaped up like that. The character is not as simple to use as you might think. And he, although it is strong, it's not as strong as some of the other characters it has turned out.
Yes.
And Kazunoko is really the only player who makes Yun look as good as he does.
As terrifying as everyone thought he was going to be on paper. Yeah. And, I mean, it's kind of interesting. So a lot of people, the reputation for Yun is that he's a crazy character. Like, Yun can just kind of go ham and do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because that's also the reputation that Kazunoko has. You know, it's kind of it's one of those beautiful player-character marriages. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that character works so well for Kazunoko's playstyle.
It does. But I also feel that it takes a really good sense of spacing and a really good sense of timing and a great willingness to take risks that I think not that many players, I should say, have all of those things.
Yeah.
But Kazunoko does. You know, he's been a top player in other games before and continues to be, in fact. But in Ultra Street Fighter 4, he's one of the best players in the world with that style. You know, he picked up Yun originally when that character came out in AE a couple versions ago, because he said that he didn't think he had footsies. Coming from a different game, he didn't think he had the sort of ground-based footsies, sort of mid-range spacing control, right? That
and an AE Yun was ridiculous.
And Yun was ridiculous in that game. Yeah, absolutely. So he picked up Yun, but even if that was true, and I'm not convinced that was ever true, but if it was true, it's not anymore.
Right.
It's not anymore. I think he has one of the best mid-range spacing games of anybody.
Right. Well, I mean, that's the thing, right? I mean, look, the guy is known for doing wake-up ultras, which he lands a lot.
He does.
Up kicks, like in seemingly random locations and such like that. But that's why I feel like the usage of Yun is so good, because Yun gives off that impression, as we mentioned, that he's kind of a crazy character. But like you said, it requires a lot more spacing and such. Kazunoko, same thing. The things that are going to stand out in here when you watch him is going to be the wake-up ultras and the up kicks and the craziness that he does. But in actuality, if you really watch his play, there are times where he's very careful, that he's very deliberate, you know, that people want to call it random, but, you know, there's a reason why that his success rate for landing a lot of those things is so high. You know, because he uses Yun, everyone's going to say he's random.
Yeah.
But if he was using, like, if it was like Daigo and Ryu, it would be like, oh, those psychic uppercuts.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
But it's because it's Kazunoko and it's because it's Yun. So, like I said, I feel like that's such a good pairing because people expect craziness and he's so good at keeping it varied and then busting out the crazy when it's the right time.
Well, he's had a good Ultra, he's had a good
Yeah,
2014
yeah.
and 2015. Let's go over his results. So
Sure.
Southeast Asia Majors 2014, he got second. Tokyo Game Show 2014, he got seventh. Biest Japan Cup first place. Yushu Sengeki Cup third place. Canada Cup Masters Series second place. Shadow Lu Showdown 6 second place. South by Southwest Invitational second place. Final round 18 fourth place. NCR 2015 7th place. Double Elimination CPT Asia Qualifier 4th place. KVO Cross Stick TSB 4th place. CEO 2015 1st place. That's what we'll be looking at. Then EVO 2015 9th place, just outside of top 8.
Right.
And at SoCal Regionals 2015, he got 2nd place just recently. So that's a lot of top 8s. It's a lot of top 8, and it's a lot of upper half of the top 8s as well, at a lot of very, very strong events.
Yeah. Interestingly, I mean, you see that right there, a lot of second place finishes.
Yeah.
So the only reason why I pointed out is because everyone's, calls that the Bon-Chan curse.
Not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. But, I mean, just really, really strong player. Amazing performance all year long. So
Yeah, agreed. In this match that we're going to watch, from CEO 2015, it will be Kazunoko versus 801 Strider, playing Abel.
Yes. And they had a really, really close match on winner's side.
Yes.
Kazunoko basically, it was like a clutch win, 3-2 in that situation, and then 801 Strider made it back around, so he's coming up here in grand finals to play against Kazunoko. So keep in mind that 801 Strider was already done super well against him earlier.
Yeah, this is going to be grand finals. Abel doesn't deal the best with dive kicks, but he has such damage potential, and he does have tools to deal with them. So it's so important, I think, to look at how Kazunoko establishes this at the start. Neutral jumps and just sort of
Dive
reacting
kicks,
and making sure that he places the dive kicks almost exactly.
Yeah, but this first round right now, you're going to see is kind of what's going to make people think he's kind of crazy. You see how offensive, how much pressure he has on the offense,
Sure.
and he's just going in constantly. But like I said, we're going to see some moments where, like right now,
Yeah, look at this.
Look at this.
Patience, staying away, picking his spots on screen.
And he has a ton of meter. So you think that he's going to randomly lunge punch at you or whatever like that?
Right.
Look at this.
Playing very, very patiently, plenty of time on the clock. He has a character with enough walk speed that it's good.
Right. And right there, he goes in, and that's the reason why he did get punished. But again, it's not necessarily just craziness from him. And there, he goes for a craziness, and it's going to cost him.
Right, yeah, so he got up close that time, and
Yeah.
it was to his detriment.
Exactly. So he was actually doing better when he was just kind of hanging back every once in a while.
Right.
And there you see, a couple of good tools that Abel has for stopping dive kicks and such.
Right.
And as we said, 801 Strider plays this really, really tightly against Kazunoko. But here comes Kazunoko. So last time he got beat by that close fierce after the EX lunge punch. So this time he just goes for the neutral jump.
Look at this corner pressure. It's not as nutsy as I feel like the reputation is. It's certainly he's pressing, but it's not all nutsy.
It's fast paced, and also, like I said, it's just unfortunate because when you use Yun, that's just what people want to think.
Yeah.
They want to think that your Yun is crazy. But as we mentioned, it's very calculated space in a lot of these.
It's a good understanding of the unsafe wheel kick. It was a point blank thing, looking for air to air.
Yeah, but weirdly enough here, just a bad situation. He was probably trying to bait out a jump or even a roll or something like that.
I don't know.
And
whatever it is, you can see Gustavo's reaction in the red there. He's willing to take it. And meanwhile, Kazunoko over there talking with Fudo, getting some advice, mulling it over a little bit.
Yeah, but see, that's a kind of situation. We've brought this up. You're gonna hear this a lot about players' fortitude and mentality. Just lost a close game there that he probably shouldn't have lost. And so can he recover from that situation? You can see here, great start from 801 Strider.
Yeah, there was a wake-up up kicks there, although it didn't work, so second time.
Yeah. But here comes that corner pressure that he's so good at. Goes for regular throws, doesn't even need the command throw. Empty jumps, EX lunge punch, regular throw. So we've already seen now, after EX lunge punch, something got hit by Strider's stand fierce.
The close fierce,
The close fierce. But then he's also neutral jumped, and that time he just went for a regular throw.
Right.
So he's already brought out 3 different options in that situation.
I love watching when Yun goes into the neutral jump. We'll talk about that when he gets back to mid-range. Yeah, so from about there, this neutral jump, he can go in or he can choose not to, but he does it from a perfect range where if he does go in, it lands on the feet. And that puts him at the perfect spot for pressure. But it's a feint, right? So he can back up. Oh, he doesn't do anything.
Right. See, that's the thing. He had him in the corner and he wasn't even going nuts.
Right.
He actually backed up to play a little bit more of a careful game. Wake up, low jabs. But the thing is,
well, he capitalizes on expectations. Everybody expects him to do wake up some crap, and that means that they're going to block.
So he's backdash twice now. He's done wake up low jabs. But you see how he keeps it inconsistent in all of those situations.
Oh, he's gone for meaty crouching short a few times, and I haven't commented on it yet. But he's option selecting that ultra or lunge punch if he doesn't have ultra stacked up. So watch when he pressures from the front like that. If he does a crouching short and it's blocked, he is inserting that motion there just in case Abel backdashes.
Yeah, so not only does Kazunoko have the really, really smart reads and is able to keep himself unpredictable, he's got the science too. He's got all the tech. I mean, his background is from very highly technical games, and so he's going to have that kind of mindset when he's playing this character. Those option selects, especially into Ultra, not the easiest thing to do.
Right. Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
There it is again.
And then gets the cross-up dive kick. And like I said, it's really just the nature of this character. This character goes in on you. Oh, I love the dashes to get him all the way into the corner.
Yes. And then, Yun can do a cross-up there like that and link out of it. He can also stay in the front, so it is a guess, although Yun's typically default to the cross-up.
But again,
that neutral jump is such a threat. He could be in all of a sudden, or he can stay away. It's such a good tool.
And here's a strength. So we get a red focus there, right? And this is just Yun. He builds meter very, very quickly. So he's going to be at 3 bars almost instantaneously again. Okay, option selective 801 Striders as well. But here you go, 3 bars. And he's waiting for Gustavo to forward dash. Like, he's reading that right there.
You were exactly right.
Yeah, he's just waiting for him to forward dash. And then he had that meter sitting there ready to go. So there you go. 2 red focus combos in 1 round.
And that was a ground game. That was footsies right there. That was understanding of where the characters can move on the ground.
Yeah, again, like I said, that's just the nature of Yun. Once he knocks you down, it's smart for a young player to keep the pressure
up. They have to, yeah.
Because it's a good sequence, but then, people just kind of give you that reputation. Oh, you're crazy, you're wild, you take too many risks, and such, but
I really don't think that he's been taking big risks. I would say the only risks are a couple of wake up kicks. But everybody's got to do wake up dragon punch sometimes.
Right, exactly.
Like you have to sometimes.
Right.
If your character has that option, you should use it.
Yep, and then he goes for the meaty throw, meaty low short, probably putting in that lunge punch in case he backdash. Yeah, the whole sequence is there. And then now he goes for throw. But see, that's the thing, is it's very rare to see Kazunoko do the same thing multiple times.
Yeah.
He's always changing it up. He always has, literally he has this wheel of options that he spins in his head, and he's just so good at picking a different one every time.
Well, it feels hard to deal with as the opponent because he could be in there all of a sudden, but oftentimes he's not, and you just don't know when he's going to make that choice. He's so good at mixing it up. Again, that spacing. Ooh, okay, good read.
And that's the thing too, after EX lunge punches on wake up, and then neutral jumping and such, he's always putting himself into the positions where that wheel of options is effective for him. Oh.
Yeah, I remember that. That's so Gustavo ends up losing, right? Here's red focus, yada yada. What he was looking for there was he thought he was going to be on the other side, and he wanted to change of direction, which would have worked if he had been on the other side. But since he was in the front, he got command grab, which is the opposite motion. So
Yeah.
unfortunate for him, but other than that, Kazunoko, I thought, just played that excellently. I loved the ground game. Footsies were there. The ability to all of a sudden stab in from the neutral jump was there. I felt like he had patience a lot of the time, but I felt like he did a great job at understanding when the opponent thought he was going to do crazy stuff. So he did crouching jab on wake up more than a few times. That works because the opponent thinks that you're going to do wake up kicks. Right? So rather than doing wake up kicks, he just recognizes that the opponent is going to think that, and he takes advantage of it. That's so smart.
Yeah.
Right?
No, absolutely. Yeah.
I honestly, he's one of my favorite players to watch in Ultra Street Fighter 4. I think he's really, really good.
Yeah. It's like I said, and the interesting thing is because he's so good at, finding... Basically, there's like 3 or 4 spots where he has those wheel of options, which is like from the neutral jump, from wake up and such. And he puts himself in those positions on purpose all the time so that you are stuck guessing. We've seen him neutral jump dive kick, neutral jump forward kick, neutral jump fierce, all sorts of different options, and he's so hard to figure out. Yeah. And that's what makes him so deadly. Unfortunately, that's what gives him that reputation, which I don't think is accurate.
But what's funny is, as we were just saying, that reputation is something that he uses.
Right. Yeah.
So I almost feel like he is okay with having that reputation because it lets him do more things. Right? He lets him get away with stuff.
That's true. But I mean, at the same time, though, Yun, as we mentioned, is kind of a character that has to take risks.
Yeah.
In some situations, as you said, not nearly as simple of a character as a lot of people give it credit for. And he does have to go in, like we said, when he knocks you down, he's better off pressuring and all these stuff like that. So in terms of how well Kazunoko is going to do at Capcom Cup, perhaps just the nature of Yun might be something that could prevent him from actually taking Capcom Cup.
Yeah.
If you just, you're throwing the dice a couple of times with Yun. And so in those situations, if you happen to go for the throw and the opponent did uppercut FADC, you're going to take this chunk of damage.
Well, as we saw against Gustavo, when he put himself close one time, Gustavo had close fierce into a lot of damage. And Yun is not the kind of character that can survive a lot of damage. He has lower health than most and less smaller stun bar than most. So he can't survive that many strong mix-ups, which means that I think you're right, that he's a volatile character in tournaments. And I think that's why Kazunoko is the only person to make him look good in major tournaments.
So, I mean, if he was going to win Capcom Cup, what do you think is going to be one of the key factors for him to take this?
I'll say this. I feel like he does have some bad player matchups. Maybe not character matchups, but player matchups. And so if he were to run into somebody who he has historically struggled against, maybe like Momochi,
he's even admittedly said, I hate fighting Momochi.
Exactly, And, he's lost to Bonchan recently. I mean, if sort of that stuff, players, not so much character problems, but people who get the reads on him, there aren't many, but there are a couple, and so I feel like if he can avoid them, then he's in a great spot.
Yeah, those players that can remain calm enough, that they can play the same wheel of options game and try to come out on top against him. Because that's the thing, the wheel of option games, the thing is, it sounds like, I have 4 options, so there's a 25% chance, right? But the thing about it, Kazunoko's smart enough that it's way better than like a 75% chance or whatever, 25% chance, or not way better than 75, math, but way better than the 25% that it sounds like it should be. You know what I mean? Because, like you said, also because he also probably knows the reputation that he has, he can always pick the right options here and there. So if he can fight against a person who can also play that same kind of mix-up guessing game and play it better than him, that could definitely be a problem for him.
I'm with you. But overall, what are your predictions for Kazunoko?
Dude, it's hard to predict Kazunoko.
Okay.
It's really hard to. But look, he I mean, just based on the records that you said earlier, I'm gonna say he's gonna get second.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but I mean, look, he's a super strong player. It's really hard for me to predict because of, like we said, Yun doesn't have a lot of life. Just a couple of bad rounds, and all of a sudden Yun is dead.
Yeah.
Kind of situation. But I can tell you right now, there's probably 31 other players in the Capcom Cup who do not want to run into Kazunoko.
Yeah, I think he's a scary person to fight for almost everybody. Maybe those couple people we mentioned aside.
Right.
But for almost everybody else, he's a very scary competitor. Not somebody that you want to run into. I have good expectations for it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he will do well at Capcom Cup. I really feel that his roadblocks are just those player matchups, and if they don't happen to come up through luck of the bracket or whatever it is, then I think he has a real good shot.
Yeah, that's why the seeding is super important for the Capcom Cup.
Yeah.
A lot of players who have qualified already still making it out to events, building up those points. So, for example, if he does have trouble against someone like Momochi, if he can get seated near him, he won't play him until the very end. So,
Right, and he is keeping it up. He went to SoCal Regionals.
That's right.
And he got second place. That was just recently.
Yep. Again, this is all going to go down at the PlayStation Experience on December 25th. That's Christmas. On December 5th through 6th.
Yes.
This is going to be the PlayStation Experience in San Francisco. If you can make it, if you're anywhere in the vicinity, come watch it.
Yeah, you're not going to want to miss it, that's for sure. But if you're not there, you can check it out online as well. Twitch.tv/Capcom Fighters is the stream.
That's right. It's been the home of all of the Capcom Premier events all year long. So, again, this is going to be a crazy, crazy, crazy event. Not just because Kazunoko's in there. But, I mean, again, 32 players from around the world.
Yeah.
And some of the best players, that you're going to see. This might be kind of like a Ultra Street Fighter 4 hurrah, last hurrah kind
It
of
might be.
shit.
It might be. That's something that we went over in that intro video
That's
for
right.
Capcom Pro Tour.
Right.
You should probably check that one out if you haven't.
Yep.
If you like that sort of video and this sort of video, analysis, talking about players and strategies, and as well as fighting game news and whatever's going on.
Right.
Drama and whatever else.
Yeah.
Give us a watch at UltraChenTV. We are on Twitch.tv and YouTube.com/UltraChenTV.
Yeah, we do all sorts of things. Also we have a lot of content there for beginner players as well to learn how to play Street Fighter, as well as a lot of heavy analysis on matches and such. So
that's right.
Check that out if you got a chance.
Okay, well, we'll see you at the Capcom Cup.